Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inspired and Empowered Living TV show and podcast for a thriving business and life. And today we will be talking about it's all about connection for a thriving business and life. So stay tuned. We are live Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on Talk 4 TV, W4WN, and my YouTube channel. And this show is not a replacement. It is for educational purposes only. And I'm your host, Nancy Deutsch, licensed clinical social worker, certified hypnotherapist, and intuitive business expert. And I combine my counseling, coaching, and intuitive abilities to transform lives and businesses and to help professionals take their work to the next levels. So we will be talking more about that connection and the importance of connection for your life and for your business. And it's that power of connection is so crucial and so important. Now, last week's show, I talked a lot about connection to self, connection to your body, your mind, your feelings, because the more connected with yourself you are, the more powerful and able you can make the deeper connections with others. And we are going to be talking about how to create those connections and what you can do to create more powerful connections and how to be of service in your connections so that you are being the connector in your life and in your business and in all areas of whatever you're doing. Because every area of your life is about relationships. We have relationships to other people and relationships to ourselves, even relationships to our body, to food, to health, to exercise, to all of it. And the more you nurture and honor your relationships, the more you will be able to experience powerful connections. So let's talk about, and really what we're going to be talking more about, success isn't about what you do, it's about how you connect. And today in this episode, we're going to dive into the power of authentic connections and how it fuels both personal fulfillment and business growth. So let's talk about how to find connections. First of all, I really feel in our world now, there is disconnect. And people feel disconnected from themselves, disconnected from others. There's a lot of disconnect. So learning to make those deeper connections, those authentic connections is crucial. And being able to tap into who you are and what you feel and being able to connect with another person on a very deep, authentic level. And we're going to talk more about that as the show goes on. So, where do you find those meaningful connections? So, whether you're looking for connections in your business or connections in your personal life, like I said, people end up feeling more disconnected. And when you're feeling disconnected, and another way to say it, so let me give you the feeling terms so it helps you to understand, what does disconnect feel like? So if you're feeling lonely or alone, and there's two types of alone. If you're feeling alone, where that energy of feeling lonely or feeling, you could be in a room full of people and still feel alone. And when you feel that, you're actually feeling a disconnect. There's some kind of disconnect happening for you. And so it's learning to be able to become aware that, oh, I'm feeling alone, or I'm feeling disconnected, or I'm feeling lonely. Or you may be feeling out of sorts, or you may, like, has anybody ever said to you, oh, I feel off? And everybody has their own version of what off feels like. And when you are feeling off or feeling lonely or disconnected, that is when you know that, one, you need to make a deeper connection with you, and making a deeper connection with others. So, where do you do that, and how do you find those connections? Well, first of all, you want to go to places that are relating to your interests. So, whether you're looking for new friends or new business associates, you want to go to a place that stirs you, that feels, that helps you feel more passionate, more alive, like things that you're of hobbies. Let's say you have a hobby and it's a cooking class. And I also want to remind you that you can meet people and connections everywhere, anywhere. Okay, Misty, I see you asked the question, and I'll get to it very shortly. And so you may go to a cooking class and meet your next friend, or you may meet someone who may end up being a business connection, especially if you want to open a restaurant. So, or you may end up, finding that connection where you have those mutual interests of food, and or certain types of food. So all of that is all the ways that that's an example of how connections and where to go. So you remember, want to follow your passions, what feels happy or good or exciting to you, and you want to follow that. And another example is, I'm very passionate about holistic health. And I want to meet other holistic practitioners, people who are on the same wavelength as me, and have that understanding of a whole approach to your life and to your business and to every area of your experience. Okay, so Misty, let me get to your question now. So Misty asks, it's hard to know when you need to connect better with yourself. So I guess the best way to learn, and remember, this is a journey. Um, it's a journey to learn what you need to, and when you need to make that deeper connection with self. And yes, it's learning to, because when you're in disconnect, and that's the word I was talking about before, you may not even realize that you need to connect with yourself. So for example, let's say you're at let's say you're at a family dinner, or you're at a party, or you're at a networking meeting, and you feel like you're having trouble making a connection to other people. So if you're having trouble connecting with other people, it's going to start with you. And sometimes you may just need to bite the bullet and say hello to somebody. And sometimes it all depends on where you are on the scale, because with people that I've worked with, some people are so terrified they can't even get the hi out of their mouth. They can't even go to a networking meeting or a party or a dinner because they're so shut down. And if you're able to do networking, or you're able to go to a function, whether it's a gathering or a party, and you're able to say hi, that's a good sign. Now, you're disconnected, or you're not, you need to connect with yourself. If you're having feelings, like if you're in fear, there's a disconnect. If you're in feeling angry or frustrated, there's something that's bothering you, and it's trying to, like that, those emotions are trying to get your attention. Now, this is about learning how to be able to connect with yourself, to move through the emotions and not sit with the emotions so that it's affecting you and you end up sitting in them and not moving through it. And one of the best ways to move through emotions is by using your breath. So you know that you need to connect better with yourself when you are feeling, or maybe you're feeling, the word that's coming, anxious. If you're anxious, there's this part of you that's really scared of the future, usually. Or it could be a part that's been wounded or hurt in the past. Now, that part of you will affect you from making deeper connections with yourself and with other people, whether it's in your personal life or your business. And so that's why it's really important to become aware. And it's learning to become aware of what you're feeling, what you're thinking, so that then you can take action on that. And the action would be to, let's say, maybe it's about just breathing in the moment. Maybe there's somebody, you're at an event. So it could be a party, a networking, or whatever experience you're in a group of people. And there's somebody you really want to connect with. And it could be somebody that maybe you're feeling like maybe they'll be a friend, or maybe they'll be a network, or maybe you don't even know. It doesn't have to be the opposite sex. It could be someone that you're feeling drawn. Now, I will tell you, if you're feeling drawn, follow the feeling, because to me, that's your soul speaking to you, giving you a message to make that connection with that other person. And when you are in more of the awareness, again, a lot of this is about the awareness. And when you're more in awareness of what you're thinking, what you're feeling, are you in alignment with yourself so that you can take actions and move yourself forward, or do something that will feel fun or scary or exciting? Now, Anastasia, you asked, what if they don't match? So, can you be more specific? What is it that you're asking? What is they? Is they the thoughts and feelings? Is they the people? Is they you connecting with somebody and there's a mismatch? So, can you be more specific so that I can answer your question? And of course, I'm grateful for the questions coming in. I always love your questions, all of you. So I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you for all your questions. So, Misty, I hope that helped. If there's any other pieces that would be helpful for you to understand, or let me know if that answered your question, or if there's anything else you would like to know around that. So, Anastasia said it's thoughts and feelings, they don't always match. And that is true. Thoughts and feelings don't always match. Now, if your thoughts and your feelings are not matching, so first of all, how do you know if there's a mismatch of thoughts and feelings? Again, it's going to be from that place of awareness. It's going to be from that place of being able to realize that your thoughts, like let's say you're thinking, and if any of you have any examples of something that's happened to you or someone you know, let me know, because I would love to hear. Let's say you're thinking, oh, I'm really fine, I'm in a good place, everything's fine, but inside you're feeling nervous, or maybe you feel butterflies in your stomach. Like maybe you're going to a meeting or a gathering or a party or a networking event, and or going somewhere where you potentially can meet people, whether it's personal or in business, and you're like, oh, I'm fine, I got this, and you get to the event, and then you're like, oh, I can't move. I want to reach out, I want to connect, but I don't know how. It's like you shut totally down. And I see we have Allie in the house. Good afternoon, Allie. Welcome. And so what happens is your thoughts were like, oh, I'm fine, but the feelings were a mismatch. And it is true, they don't always match. So this is all about that connection piece. And if you discover, and again, this is the awareness, the first thing to really make the deeper connection is, are my thoughts and feelings matching? Am I on target? What am I feeling? And what am I thinking? And if there's not a match, then usually there's something going on in your feelings. And one of the ways to connect with it is through the body. I do a lot of somatic work. When I'm working with clients, we go into the body, because the body is that part of us that the body never lies. So your thoughts and your feelings may not match, but your body knows the truth. So if you're saying I'm fine, and then you go to an event or networking and you're like, I can't speak, something's going on. And I will tell you, the connection piece is going deeper into understanding what part of you is not able to speak. And so, and very often when I'm working with clients, they may have social anxiety. And there is a part of them that is shut down or scared or had some kind of trauma, which led to limiting beliefs and emotions that feel scary. And it's learning to make the connection with yourself, to put all of it into an alignment. When you're in connection and in an alignment, body, mind, emotions, spirit, you're going to be able to make those authentic connections more easily and more powerfully than whether it's personal or business. And that is what you want, is making those deeper connections with self so that you're in alignment to be able to network and go out there and meet new people and make new friends and make new business associates and really have fun. Because what I find within my own life is when I'm connecting in an authentic way with someone else, even when I'm doing the show, I love connecting with all of you and sharing my wisdom, sharing my information so that I know I'm making a difference and that I'm helping you. And I know those of you who've been listening to the show have and watching it have said that I make a difference in your lives. And that really means a lot for me. And so those of you like Misty and Anastasia, and I know some of the others aren't here right now, or I don't know if you're here, but I appreciate you. And I want you to know that. And it's very, and of course, there's Allie and Allie too, faithful Allie. So know that there's ways. Oh, Misty says I enjoy the show. Thank you so much, Misty. So glad you tune in and you're here, and love having you here and asking your questions. So thank you. And bottom line is when you deepen the relationship with yourself and you make the deeper connection. Oh, and I'm making connection to the Misty goes, I enjoy the show, and Anastasia says you make a difference for me, and I am grateful and I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. So really, see, and what happens when you make authentic connections, like I feel you, and it touches my heart, and and I want to do that for you, and when you do that for other people, it makes a huge difference. I want all of you to know that when you make that deeper connection, you make a difference for others. And Mickey says, you make this time enjoyable. Thank you, Mickey. I appreciate you. Glad you're here too. Yay. So I want you to know that you, when you, and I know you're all in different levels of learning and growing. We all are. We're all human beings. And that's really an important thing to remember, that you need to be authentic. You need to be the authentic you, whether it's your personal life or your business. The most important thing is to be authentically you. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to be you. Allie goes, hi. And she goes, Allie says, love you, Nancy. Oh, thank you. See, you know what? All of you touch me. I really appreciate you all. See, look at you. You can hear it in my voice because I'm feeling you. I'm feeling my connection with you and how much it makes a difference for me, and how much I make a difference for you. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about, whether it's your personal life or your professional life. It's about making that heart-to-heart connection. Oh, and Charles is chiming in. Hi, Charles. I like listening to the show. Thank you, Charles. Glad you're here too. And it really makes a big difference. I don't think that you all realize how much of a difference you make when you show up in that authentic way. And yes, we're all in different stages. You're all learning, you're all growing, and you're working on being the best you can be. And that's the most important thing that you need to remember. And so how do you cultivate relationships that matter? Like, what do you do so that you know that you're making a difference? Now, the first thing again is authenticity. And that's we're going to start being authentic, being the authentic you. And when you make a connection and you are being you, whether it's in your personal life or in your professional life, you are making a difference. And when you allow yourself to be you and shine your light, because you are all light. At the core of who we is our soul. And our soul are these beautiful, bright, magnificent lights. And you're here to shine your light and to make a bigger difference on this planet. And right now, we need that more than ever because of what's going on in our country, what's going on in our world. We need to be the light that we are. And when you're authentic, when you allow yourself to connect more deeply to you and to become more conscious, more aware of your thoughts, your feelings, to the best of your ability, because I know sometimes they don't always match, but to the best of your ability, it's being able to share who you are. And when you want to find connections where, like, I really believe that relationships can be a win-win. So whether it's in your business or in your personal life, there is a win-win opportunity. It's you being open to giving and receiving, and there's a reciprocal energy, a reciprocal relationship when you are in that win-win zone. And that's what you want. You want to create relationships where you're in the win-win zone. And that's really important. And if you're not having relationships where you feel there's an equal give and take, or you're not sure, ask yourself, what can I do to help or support this relationship? How can I make this connection better? Now, this is going to be some mindset shifts on how to improve your relationships. Now, many of us go into relationships, whether it's personal or business. What can I get from the other person? What can I get? What can I do, you know, to make this a successful relationship? And the way you can make that more successful is to change your mindset from what can I get to what can I give? And that's coming from that light that you are. So when you're meeting people, when you're meeting new people, or even in relationships you already have, you may want to ask, how can I support you? What can I do to help you? And that may be in your personal life or it may be in your business. And you want to ask those questions so that you are able to start thinking about being a giver. Now, there's this balancing act, okay? And the balancing act is you want that win-win, like what I just talked about, the win-win. So what happens is you want to give and be of service to another person and have that attitude of giving. And you also want to make sure that it's not totally one-sided. Because if you're giving, and then that other person is taking, there's not that win-win. And so you want to make sure that you're creating and cultivating relationships. But you want to start with that. How can I serve? How can I support you? How can I make a difference for you? So that can be a real game changer in your connections, in all of your connections. And I and before I go to the next piece, I want to let you know that I'm doing a free virtual workshop next week for women coaches, therapists, nurses, and holistic professionals. Freedom and fulfillment. 3 steps to grow your thriving holistic business. And we're going to talk about mastering client attraction strategies. So, learn how to attract your ideal clients by creating compelling messages, leveraging visibility, and building authentic connections, just like what I'm talking about. And then day 2, we're going to be talking about breaking free from limiting beliefs and charging what you're worth. So you're going to learn where those beliefs are that are limiting you so that you can create more of what you deserve on every level and creating that abundance, going from scarcity to abundance. And then you're going to learn how to confidently monetize your unique gifts. So it's putting all your services into one program. So we'll be talking about that next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, March 18th, 19th, and 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So, and Rebel put in the link in the chat. So any of you who would like to join, I'd love to see you there on next week, March 18th, 19th, and 20th. And it's inspired and empowered living.com/workshop. Again, the name of the show, inspired and empowered living.com/workshop. And I look forward, like I said, to seeing you there and making those deeper connections to yourself and others. And so, learning to be able to make those deeper connections with others is a really game changer in your life, whether it's your personal life or your business life. And one of the things to do that is learning, and this is about that authenticity piece. And this can be very challenging, and I understand it because it's not always easy to be vulnerable. And vulnerability is actually a really important way to make those deeper connections. Now, if you're doing it in a networking way, or when you're first meeting somebody right off the bat, it depends. You may not want to get so vulnerable, or you may want to modify it. Again, this is about tuning into your intuition and seeing and feeling what feels right to you in the moment. Like, let's say you go up to somebody and you're meeting them for the first time, whether at a gathering or at a networking event. And and then you may say, oh, I'm a little nervous, or something like that. You could say something like that, which leaves you vulnerable. And then they may say, oh, I get nervous at these kinds of events too. Like, you may actually open up a conversation deeper than, let's say, the superficial. Now, this has to do with what feels right to you in the moment. Okay. So what's going to be really important is for you to remember to be real and to be human. And we all are vulnerable. Every single human being on this planet has vulnerable moments. That is part of being human. So want you to know that you all have those human experiences. And what happens is authenticity builds a bigger level of trust. And so instead of for you trying to be perfect, or you being like going to an event and trying to be, oh, I know what I'm doing, or um, I got this covered, or whatever it is, you want to make sure that you're being real. And then, excuse me, and also you want to be real when as you're developing relationships. When you make mistakes, you want to own the mistakes and apologize. That's real. And you want to be able to talk about your challenges, your lessons learned. All of those pieces are really important in your connections with other people. And when you go to an event, whether it's a personal or professional, and one of the things that happens and why people are afraid to reach out and meet new people is the fear of rejection. And most people have the fear of rejection, just letting you know you're not alone. And what if you, well, actually, I love this saying. I'm not sure where it came from. It may have came from the 12-step program, but I'm not positive. But there's a saying that I heard: rejection is God's protection. And I love that because, rejection doesn't feel good and it can hurt. But if you look at it as rejection, it's good to know who's going to be real. Like, you don't want to develop a relationship with someone if they're not going to be real, if they're not going to be in your corner, if they're not going to connect with you, or have that authentic connection. You're better off. And it's better to have and to know that, because in the end, what happens is, if, let's say, you get rejected by one person, and then you say, okay, well, let me go on to the next person. And the next person can be the exact connection that you've been waiting for. It could be a personal connection or a business connection that could really change your life or your business. And it's because that other person rejected you that you said, you know what, let me move on to the next. Like, it's also important not to take rejection personally. Now, I know that may seem weird because, oh, well, if I get rejected, then they're rejecting me. But the truth of the matter is, when someone rejects you, it's about them. It's not about you. It's about their stuff. It's about them not feeling, maybe they don't feel not good enough. Or maybe they have other issues coming up that you have no clue. So that's what I really want to support all of you in remembering that rejection actually can be the best thing, and not to take it personally, because it's not about you. Anastasia says, how can you not take it personally at the time? So you don't take it personally, because what happens is, let's say you get rejected, okay? And whether it's a rejection from somebody you just met or a rejection that came down the line, this is where positive self-talk comes in. And this is that's about deepening your connection to yourself. And your positive self-talk is all about, okay, whatever the reason they are choosing not to connect with me, whether it's now or whether it's a relationship, a person you just met, or a relationship down the road, you need to keep reminding yourself, I will find, and I am finding the people who I am meant to connect with. I am finding the people where there is a mutual win-win. It could be the best thing that ever happened to you that this person just rejected you, or they reject you down the line. And that's what I really want to support all of you in looking at, is thinking about that rejection is God's protection. So just to keep that in mind, and then to keep the positive self-talk, that positive self-talk, so that you are keeping yourself up and not getting caught in the weeds, not getting caught in what's happening in that moment. Like, and an example, like, let's say it's a long-term relationship. The longer the relationship, it could be more challenging to be able to not take it personally. Okay. Yes. Charles says sometimes the connection is just not right at the time. And that is true. Sometimes it's just not the right time or the right person or right at the right time. So that is definitely true. Yes. Thank you, Charles. And so it's about remembering that ultimately. And if this is an ongoing thing, an ongoing relationship, and all of a sudden something happens, this is about you saying to yourself, there's a reason here that this is happening, and I am trusting that this is going to be for my highest good, that this is going to end up being for my benefit. And you may not know how or when or why, but just really doing that self-talk. And Misty says, not all connections fit. And that is so true. Not all connections fit. And so that's why sometimes rejection is the best thing. And that's what I want you to reframe. I want you to start thinking about rejection. Rejection is a good thing, because we have been trained in our minds, rejection is bad. So now I want you to change that into rejection could be the best thing that ever happened to me. All right. And not to take it personally. Again, this is about you knowing that you're worth having those meaningful and better connections than those of the people who would seem to reject you. And sometimes it may be a misunderstanding, but again, this is about you assessing what's happening in the moment so that you can take action that will be in your benefit, your highest good. That's what you want. So we're going, so join me next week for more inspired and empowered living. And we will be talking more about connecting with our authentic self. I'm getting that is what I'm being guided to support all of you in, is what does that mean to be your authentic self? Because it's being that authentic self that your connections deepen. So to be continued. And join me next week for more inspired and empowered living, Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, and my YouTube channel. And we are also on podcasts like iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, Amazon, and many more. And I wish you all, and I want to thank you all that you've been here to join me, whether you're live. Thank you all for those who participated. I really want to say I appreciate you. And those of you who are listening at a later time or viewing at a later time, I appreciate you. And thank you. Thank you for being here. And I wish you all an inspired and empowered day and night and an inspired and empowered week. Have a great one, everybody. Bye for now.